life is what happens to us while we're making other plans. That's a quote from John Allen Saunders. And that's me, Matt, and my boyfriend, well, now fiance, spoiler alert, Sam. We've been together for 5 years, lived in 5 apartments, had 1 breakup, and we have 1 dog. The facts aren't really that important, but what you do need to know is that not one part of our relationship, including this proposal, has gone according to plan. A lot of our friends and family have been asking to see me get down on one knee, and we'll get there, I promise. But first, I want to tell you a story, our story, and what I learned about making plans, expectations, and faith along the way. And it starts on New Year's Eve of 2017. I had spent 2016 actively dating, really trying to manifest a man into my life unsuccessfully. And so 2017, I had planned on being a year for me, of me, by me, with me. And then on New Year's Eve, I was in a basement in Harlem and I saw this boy across the room in a black baseball hat, and I asked my friend Reed, is he straight? And the answer, thankfully, was no. So we met that night, and by March, we were officially dating, and by June, he had officially moved in.
Wow, wonderful news.
The next 18 months were a total whirlwind. We moved twice. We made some videos, we found a new group of friends. We just got enmeshed, we became codependent, lost all sense of our individual selves. And so on our 2-year anniversary, over sushi in Times Square, I broke up with him. Well, that was my plan anyway. I mean, we were broken up for like 72 hours. And then some of our family suggested that we go talk to someone and see if we could get some help in figuring out how to break up cleanly and remain friends. And 8 months and a lot of work later, we were the best that we had ever been.
Therapy.
So we ended up moving again, and this time our plan was to stay, nest, really make this place our home. And then the pandemic hit, and our lease was ending, and we thought, well, why not put our stuff in storage, come out to Arizona to live with my family for the winter, and see where the wind takes us. Well, 9 months, an election, an insurrection, and 2 vaccinations later, we were ready to come back to New York. We signed a lease on an apartment, sight unseen. We came back. We were there for 7 months. We got a puppy, and then we decided to drive back to Arizona for the winter. And this is where things get interesting.
That's what she said. Or he said.
Towards the end of the summer, after we had attended some beautiful weddings of close friends and immediate family, I felt like I was ready to, lock things in with Sam. And I don't know if we ever had a conversation about it or if it was just this unspoken agreement that we had that I was gonna be the one to propose. Maybe because I was the one that tried to end things 3 years prior. But we got measured for rings, and one day in October, while Sam was out of town for work, I FaceTimed his parents, his brother, his best friend, and I told them that I was planning on proposing on New Year's Eve, the 5-year anniversary of the night that we met. So Sam's parents booked flights, everything was great, and then Sam had this brilliant idea to invite a bunch of our friends out to Arizona to celebrate New Year's with us. Of course, I told them about the secret plan, and 3 friends suddenly turned into 11. And then in early December, we packed up a rental car with the dog and we headed west to Arizona. And this was the same time that Omicron was starting to pop up. And as excited as I was about everyone coming, I had this tingling that plans were maybe gonna need to change. And then sure enough, 10 days before New Year's, I pulled the plug. I was still planning on proposing. And then 3 members of my family tested positive for COVID. And I had to postpone. It was a hard, but also very easy call to make. And then I picked a new date. Sam's parents rebooked their flights. 2 of our very close friends, Sammy and Tommy, were gonna be in town anyways. And my brother and his girlfriend were gonna be moving that day. So I knew Sam would have no idea that it was coming. I will spare you from the 40 different iterations of this plan that there were, but what you do need to know is that 2 days before I planned on doing it, Sam decided to take that day off of work, so everything that I had planned needed to get thrown out the window. So the day comes, it's Friday morning, I am sick to my stomach, not kidding, and it was at this point that I decided to turn on the camera. So it's Friday morning, and I'm really nervous. And I haven't been nervous, but for whatever reason, the last 24 hours, I'm like, oh, I have the ring. I actually have the ring. So we spent the whole day with Sammy and Tommy, and I wanted to capture all of the moments that Sam had absolutely no idea what was going to happen. Like this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one.
How's your day been? Good. Yeah.
So we picked up our puppy from daycare, and Sammy told Sam that he wanted to take a picture of the three of us in front of the garage. This is when I almost threw up. I promised you I wouldn't propose in the backyard, but I didn't say I wouldn't do it in the driveway.
Why do you give them?
Come here, Carly. Come here. Come here.
And this is the part where I say some really nice things about him and us. And then, will you open the garage for me?
So ridiculous.
There's a Yiddish proverb that says, we plan, God laughs. And I think that's true. Every time I thought I knew what was gonna happen next in my life or in our relationship, the universe threw me a curveball. Some of the best moments have been completely unexpected. Like us meeting in the first place. So maybe that's the thing I'm done with. Expectations. You know, I'd rather be surprised than disappointed. And in a weird way, I can control that. There's this quote in the Big Book of AA that says, our serenity is inversely proportional to our expectations. Now that doesn't mean not setting boundaries or holding ourselves or the people around us to certain moral standards, but when it comes to how our life unfolds, we can choose to be open to any and all possibilities and let life surprise and delight us. You know, the reason I felt so much stress about this proposal is because my expectations were through the roof. And instead, I could have chosen to have faith and trust that whatever happens, it was going to be perfectly imperfect. And faith for me is not religious in any way. It's about surrendering my expectations and trusting that something greater than me has things under control, and that my job is to show up with kindness and love and patience and generosity and honesty and trust that whatever happens, I am going to learn something.